maybe you can stick along with me and try to decide what I'm going to do next at each little phase. Now see here, I've got my dust mask. Yesterday the wind was blowing and most of the dust was going out of the way, but lots of times I was right in it, and it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to talk and stuff. I think you can still hear me, can't you? Got my goggles on, I got my gloves on, I got my earplugs on, all that good stuff. Getting my things kind of set up here. Let's see what we can get accomplished today, shall we? Yes, before I try to take this up, I'm going to score this and get this kind of out of my way. And whenever I use my sheetrock knife, I always, when I get done, I will retract it. So if there's nothing else you've learned, you'll learn on this video, is to how to be more careful with your sheetrock knife. And you might think, oh, I'm gonna use it in a minute. Why should I have to do anything? I'll just set this over here, and then you start scraping, and it digs into your hand or your side of your arm or whatever, or you go to reach for it and you pick it up, and it cuts you because you forgot to retract it. That's why at the store, this one's probably, oh, I don't know, 10 years old. I try to keep it good. I've also got some extra blades in here. I keep the dull ones, put those in the back, keep some sharp ones in here, because you never know when you're going to need it for doing demo or something. If you don't need a brand new sharp blade, I'll take out one of my old blades and use it. Okay, but they sell at the store, they sell some sheetrock knives that do not retract. And sometimes sheetrockers who cut sheetrock, they'll use something like that, because lots of times when they're cutting, this might depress a little bit and it might go in a little bit, let's say, or they're constantly, after cutting, they're going to depress, you know, disengage this and then turn it back out. No, they don't do that. They just, they once they cut something, they'll put this in their nail bag, and it's ready to go for the next one. Now, this one will stick out this far, but if they wanted it smaller, if they're cutting something, they only want that much out, let's say, if that works better for them. There's little grooves in the sheetrock blade, and they could set it just like, they could pull theirs apart, set it just like that, and forevermore when they're cutting, it's going to be like that. Or if they want it out further, it'll be like that. Okay, some guys I've seen, they don't have it sticking out as far as that. It might be about halfway or something, because then that stiffens this blade up, and it's easier for them to score and less likely for them to cut their finger as they're pulling it with their tape measure and all that kind of stuff. I wish I knew of some guys who were really good sheetrock installers. I'd go over there and run the video camera. You could see how they hold their tape measure, how they cut, how they rasp it off, how they install the sheetrock. That would be an interesting video series, wouldn't it? And maybe I'll think about that. And if I ever come across somebody like that, you know, maybe I can do something. Well, see, I wasn't planning on talking about that. Now it's giving me some thoughts on some other videos I can make just for you. Let's see how far you can. I think you can see to there, can't you? Yeah, you can see to there. Okay. This stuff is pretty thick. Take this out. See if I can't get some of this off. do is take the rest off with my little putty knife, my stiff putty knife. The closer I get, the harder it could be to get this out of here if I'm not setting it straight down, because with big pieces it gives me an edge to just kind of try to break that up into big pieces, you know. And usually from the outside you want, so that you can kind of break off a biggest chunk. You've been doing this for all of these stairs, Joe? Yeah, all just like this, other than for the top two. It wasn't as thick as this. See, as I'm pulling this up in big chunks, it's not leaving a little thin layer down there. And that's because when I put it on in big, wide, thick goes. I didn't put a little thin bit on there like I did on the first top two steps. Now there's more I have to do on that, right? Here's the caulking that was there, so I have to scrape that off. I'm just doing that with a dull knife, but it's how you angle it. There's always a right and wrong way on doing just about anything, whatever it is. You know, try to come up with something, a good way to do something, and continue doing that until you learn something different. And by the way, there's only so much you're going to learn on these videos, on anyone's videos, and anything you read. There's only so much you can learn before you go out there and you just have to do it. You know, the more you do something, just the better you're going to get at it. That's just the way it works. I'm never going to be able to teach you everything you're going to need to know. Lots of things you're going to need to learn on your own. And hopefully you come up with knowing kind of the parameters of doing certain things, you know. Here I got my big blade. That's just getting the loose stuff down here. Okay, I'm not going to try to dig it in any further than that because I don't want to mess up my blade. This is my sheetrock mud knife, one of them, and I don't want to start digging that edge up, right? See how nice that came off? There's nothing on here right now. No little thin layers of fix-all or anything. Remember, as I poke this up, I've got screws. One there, one there. There's going to be another one right in there, right here. What I don't want to do is hit this right on the screw because I might break it off. I might bend it. And so I just kind of try to be mindful of that. Just plug it, go some more and some more. It's not the fastest who win the race sometimes. It's the one who's got some discipline, hard work, ethics, and a mentality of never letting something fail them on what they're doing. Okay, you fail at something, it's not, you're not failing, you're just proving a point to yourself on something that needs to be done in a different way, right? You continue to do the same thing the same way all the time, you get the same results. What's that gonna do? Nothing. Sometimes I say, hey, just get a bigger hammer. You know, if you're working on something, that doesn't really fix any issues. Just get a bigger hammer, beat it out, right? I'll fix it. I'll just get a bigger hammer and put on that. My uncle used to always, well, he didn't used to always say it, but I've learned a lot from Uncle Wayne over the years, especially when I was working for him with a company that he worked with, a residential remodel company. And there's a time to be really super precise, and there's a time not to be as super precise. When I started first framing and measuring and cutting with a skill saw, sometimes he would say, hey, we're not building a piano, nail it. Stuff like that. Okay, let's see here. So there's a time to be really super precise, and then there's another time to get in there and get the work done and learn from that. You know? See, that's flaking all the way up because I put on a big, thick piece of that when I first started. I still had to float this out. There was no way I could put all this on in just one coat. You saw all the aggro that I had to go through to do this. You'd be thinking, my word, he put a lot of work into that. He should be pretty worked up right now about having to do it over. Well, I mean, that's one way you can look at it. Then there's another, to just get in there and try something different and learn from your mistakes, right? Okay, so I'll clean up this the caulking on here. They've done such a nice job with this caulking. Now I'm ripping it all up. Okay, I'll finish off this stair. I've got to clean up the loose caulking along the stucco, along this edge, along the front edge, all the way across. I'll do a once over on it. I'll clean off the stucco edge over in here and get this step to look just like the other steps that I've done so far. You see, I worked on these yesterday. I trimmed off the caulking there all the way along, cleaned this up. Now there's some little bits on here from this stuff flying up onto here. But I want to get this stuff to look all about in the same way with these last 3 steps, and then I'll go back and start doing something else, like checking the paint on the edge. You remember this one here, I thought it was all nice and tight. I was cleaning up the edge. I thought I'll just test this, and it all came off in sheets. Same thing with that one. Okay, so I'm gonna have to check the front edges of these. Look at this front edge, all the paint had come off it. And the reason why that paint came off, all of it, for sure I know, is because before I painted it, I ended up floating this whole front edge out with the fix-all. Now some of these front of the stairs, I didn't, you can see there's no fix-all on there. Granted, there's a little something right there. That could have been primer, or that could have been maybe a little bit of fix-all I might have had to have done at the bottom or something. But you can tell I didn't put fix-all on the front edge of those. And when I went to repaint this whole thing, lots of these front edges were fine. So I thought, and so I repainted them with 2 coats of finish paint. Wherever I had to, I put a coat of primer and then 2 coats of finish paint. And so I didn't start painting this project with the wood raw like this. This paint has been on here, the first few layers anyways, for about 18 years. So I'm glad I'm checking it. I might as well check it all now and be done with it, right? So that I can decide, hey, once I get done with this whole stairwell, I don't want to have to come back all the time and start messing with it, okay? So that is the whole thing about this. When you live in the snow, we get snow. Last year we got, oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet throughout the year all together. And you get the snow melt, you get all that water saturated and sitting on your stairs, especially if it's not angled out. And you know, again too, when I looked at the stairs, they were in this kind of shape with paint over them, and I could see quite a few cracks on them. That's because, as you will recall, I had told you that these old stairs, this is 1 2x4, 1.5 by 3.5 to here. And then here's the next one, right there, right there, right there, right there, and it just goes like that. And if I don't cover these, if I just paint these, I'm still going to have water and moisture going down through these cracks, aren't I? Another reason why I wanted to float these out, and that's why I wanted to make sure I not only wanted to just cover this, I wanted to make sure that all these stairs came out at the same angle, angling down. Whoever installed these and cut the stair trimmers underneath the stair, oh, what do you call them? The stair, not the stair supports, the stringers that are underneath all here. What they should have done was cut that at a slight angle so that when they put these down, everything was tilted up slightly and coming down. They weren't even level. They were all going backwards. Boom, boom, boom. So whoever cut them didn't even do that right. Okay? So now I'm trying to fix a wrong that was done about 18 years ago. That's another reason why I gotta do this right, float them out right. If I'm gonna spend all this time and effort on it, why not do it right? Right? Oh, feels good to be done for the day. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos.